useful only as psychological warfare.
What?
This movie is so bad that I hold a grudge against it for whatever time or money I spent to watch it.
Oh, no.
Oh, come on now.
As mirthful as an icicle shoved straight up your rear.
I don't think it's meant for that, though.
Mirthful?
This was a 1-star review from IMDb. Happy holidays and welcome to Spoilers Intended, a podcast about series and films. I'm Ryan, joined as always by Andrew.
Season's greetings.
And Steven.
Mirthful?
Mirthful. I think they're watching the wrong film for the wrong reasons.
Mirthful, though, is not a word that gets thrown around enough.
Is that, like, I'm almost...
Is it a word?
I don't know.
Like, are you allowed to put a TH next to an F? That feels illegal.
I don't feel like I'm qualified to look it up, but I'm going to say it's probably a word.
I know what it means.
What does it mean?
It means happy and
full
warm.
of mirth.
Yeah.
But is it mirth full of happiness already?
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. This is not the film for that.
According to our 1-star review, it's not. If you can't tell already, in this episode, we are reviewing Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, here we go. We're off the rails. It is a word. Yes. You want to read the actual definition?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here we go.
Here, yeah, why not? So it is full of mirth, merry, or amusing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amusing, I could definitely see.
Yeah.
It's an awkward, like,
not
TH
really
and
merry,
then an
though.
F. Who does that? TH and then an F.
It's kind of like
wrong.
Anyway, I'll save my review.
Mouthful of
I was
marbles.
going to save your review.
Mouthful of marbles. Mirthful.
What we're talking about is the movie, the Arnold Schwarzenegger holiday comedy, Jingle All the Way.
From 1994?
Close, 96.
No, I was really
You're
close.
always off by 2 years.
It's okay. All right, let's start with a plot summary. So the summary for this movie is: a father vows to get his son a Turbo Man action figure for Christmas. However, every store is sold out and he must travel all over town and compete with everybody else in order to find one.
I mean, that's accurate.
Fairly basic of a description, but I think
that's about as paper thin of a plot as you can get.
It really is. This movie released on November 16th, 1996.
Got to get out there ahead of Christmas.
Yeah. Directed by Brian Levant, who basically, when I looked at his career, he's just a bunch of kids' TV and the Flintstones live action movie from '94.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I actually never seen that.
Oh,
really?
It's actually a good film.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's got
John Goodman as
Rick Moranis as Barney.
These are perfect castings.
Rick Moranis as Barney?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's great.
Now I have to watch this.
It's actually pretty good. So written by Randy Cornfield, and he spells Cornfield with a K, so it's like
hardcore.
Who has also wrote such illustrious classics as Eight-Legged Freaks, starring David Arquette.
Freaks on a Leash?
Yeah. And Jingle All the Way 2, featuring Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh, there was the Jingle All the Way 2?
I'm sure it was straight to cable.
This up on
oh, no.
Cable Guy. When we pulled up on Disney Plus, it was right next to it. I was like, they made a second one with Larry the Cable Guy. The 90s were wild.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Music was by David Newman, who had quite a few movies that I had seen on his resume. Most of them were in the mid to late 90s. So he had Tommy Boy, Matilda, Nutty Professor, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And when you think about those movies and you think about this movie, that pizzicato strings, it's oh yeah, this guy was just that dude in the 90s.
He was the guy.
There's little strings going on. Yeah.
They call him up on his little rotary dial phone and they're like, hey,
we need it.
They flip through the Rolodex to get to his name.
It's like Randy Newman. No. David.
Look,
there
kids these days don't even know what a Rolodex is anymore, Stephen. That is such a dated reference.
I barely even knew what a Rolodex was.
I was going to say, I don't think I have ever used a Rolodex.
I went the longest time as a kid thinking it was a watch. I don't understand how
he's got a nice Rolodex.
My mom had the cool one where it had the little wheels
on the side.
They all had that.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I feel like, I don't know.
You just said, I'm not an expert. Now, let me tell you how they all had them.
I thought that was just an integral part of all of them.
Maybe it was. I don't know.
Who's to say?
I've only seen one Rolodex in my life. Who knows?
For anyone over the age of 50 listening, hit us up in the comments on social. Any post, it doesn't matter. Let us know. All right, this movie stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sinbad, Phil Hartman, Rita Wilson, and Jake Lloyd from The Phantom Menace.
Yeah, before he was, I think this was actually right before he got cast as.
This may have been why he got cast.
Maybe.
I mean, for all we know, they're
been,
like, oh, look at
I
this
don't
kid.
know when this was probably in production. I guess it was probably right
95,
before.
yeah.
95, probably.
Yeah.
This didn't feel like it had a big production lead time.
Probably not.
We were both going there.
We'll get to that maybe a little bit in
took
trivia.
a while to make the toys.
Dude, can you imagine how much time they must have spent on Booster's costume?
Actually, probably quite a bit.
Some mid 90s proto furry was like, sign me up.
I'll take the hit on this one. Anyways, the budget was $60 million.
60 million?
Holy cow.
Yeah.
60?
$60 million.
What?
6D. Now, $20 million of that.
$96.
$20 million of that was Arnold's paycheck.
I can definitely see
they
that.
They cast Arnold in the mid 90s. He commanded a lot of money.
He did. Yes, absolutely.
And the box office domestic was $60 million. So they broke even domestically. And then worldwide it was $129.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. So actually decent for a very, I would say, American movie.
Very American.
You know?
They probably sold some Turbo Man action figures on the side. I don't remember. See,
weren't they even Turbo Man action figures?
I'll skip a little bit ahead to the trivia.
Thing or not.
Because it's not related to any spoilers or anything. Let me see if I can find it. So, official toy Turbo Action Man figures were released.
I remember seeing these things.
Tiger Electronics released a 13.5-inch figure in '96, which has become a rare collector's
Those
item.
things are massive.
They're huge. I mean, this is the OG G.I. Joes at like 12 inches or whatever. Yeah.
But basically, so to skip ahead a little bit, the original script I don't think was of a Turbo Man. It was a different toy.
Power Rangers?
It was
Like Furbies or something?
the first
Furbies was like 2000s.
The inspiration
Tickle Me
for
Elmo?
it was actually from the Cabbage Patch doll craze from the 80s.
See, I was almost like, was
Yeah.
it like Teddy Ruxpin or something? But yeah, Cabbage Patch makes sense.
I
That was
could definitely
so
see that.
That's where the genesis of the idea started, and the first initial scripts were something I think similar to that. And so they only had 6 months lead time before the movie came out, so they were only able to make a limited amount of figures. And so it made the director, Brian Levant, very frustrated when reviewers were like, this is just an excuse to shill toys.
It's like,
he was like, we don't even have enough toys to sell to make, like, there was a very limited amount, I think, in actual stores to buy after this movie came out.
So basically you had a reproduction of the movie where people were like, my kid wants a Turbo Man action figure and there's only 3 in the city.
Yeah, except for I don't think that many kids were like, give me the Turbo Man. It was like,
but so if there's
like 3
4,
kids.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, 4 kids wanted it, and there was only 3.
drives up the scarcity.
The 4th kid was kind of let down.
they all knew each other. They were just going to play with them together. One kid's the loser. You have to be Booster.
Okay. All right, overall thoughts. What did everybody think about this movie?
Well, first question. Who here has seen it before?
I will.
I
have.
I will.
I will take the ring to Mordor.
I have seen it probably 2 or 3 times on cable. I remember when it came out, I don't think I rented it. Maybe I did. Like somewhere around. I didn't see it in theater for sure.
So this is definitely one of those films where we watch it every year. Not really because like it's like we like, oh, we love this movie so much, because this is definitely one of those films that it's so bad it's kind of good.
Right.
And there are some actually really fun bits in it.
Definitely,
and
yeah.
So it's the kind of film you can just put on, do something else, and then look up for the good spots.
And you're like, oh, here's the moment.
Andrew's already put his review in. He's done. Cut off. Now we're talking for Andrew.
Well, so the funny thing about this movie is it's not a typical Christmas movie that has, I mean, it does have like the heartwarming ending, that kind of
message
stuff.
at the end.
Sure, but it's very different in terms of like it's more about like consumerism.
Yeah,
and
the message is a cynical take at the consumerism of the U.S. basically.
And what's wild is that Christmas '96 was the Tickle Me Elmo craze, and so it's ironic that like this came out and it's about that, and that's happening like in stores while this movie's out.
Also read, I might add.
That's the key.
So now,
it's all red toys.
Steven hadn't seen this before.
No.
This is your first time seeing it?
The only
Okay.
thing that I knew about this film
Was that it was Arnold?
was that it was Arnold.
Yeah.
It involved some kind of action figure thing, and I can remember from the trailers back when I was like a kid of the scramble in the toy store.
Yes.
I think over like the lotto numbers or whatever. But like the scramble. That's all I knew about it was, okay, well, it's going to be like a seething mass of people fighting for something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean, if you go to like any kind of, like I'll say holiday movie about toys, it's going to be like that anyways.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you think? I'm curious.
actually kind of enjoyed it.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It is. One. Okay, Phil Hartman.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Puts it
Love
down,
Phil Hartman.
makes it
Yeah.
so obvious as to why everyone was so distraught and misses him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Because this is not only like what 2 years before he died, basically.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
close.
Like
yeah.
98.
98.
So like just nails it, like the perfect Ted.
Oh yeah.
When it was just like Ted, that's all I can. Ted.
I mean, Ted is absolutely the cul-de-sac slut.
Oh, absolutely.
No, hold on now. Cul-de-sac sleaze.
I don't know. All those housewives are all over him.
Potato.
He's working hard for this.
He really is.
He's working hard.
But Phil Hartman, he did that voice on SNL, a lot of different characters. It's kind of like the Troy McClure character from Simpsons that he plays, but like as Ted, it just like works.
It really does.
It's got that perfect like, I'm helping you in a very like, you're not. You're looking out for yourself.
Well, it's one of those things like as he talks, you're just like, man, I just want to hit you. Like, all
I know, yeah.
You'd be like, would you like some hot chocolate? I've got a cookie. He's like, I'm going to smack the crap out of you.
He's got that reindeer. And he's like,
But actually, I really like a lot of the music in this movie too. Like it has some good holiday music. Brian Setzer Orchestra is one of the big ones. Or Brian Setzer. I don't know if he had an orchestra at this point.
He's trying to,
it is
work
Brian
his way
Setzer
up. Got to take
Orchestra.
out the bank loan for the next.
So I think the Stray Cats were in like the 80s, and then the orchestra became like somewhere in the
Brian
90s.
is old.
Yeah. But yeah, what do you think about this movie, Ryan?
So yeah, it's been probably at least 20 years or more since I've
wow.
seen this. Because I remember watching it again a lot
On cable.
As a kid. I'm pretty sure we rented it when it came out to rent, and then I know I've seen it on TBS USA a few times. I think like for me, it is a enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's kind of like a different Christmas movie. It's not your typical
Heartwarming.
It does have that stuff
It's
to it.
got it. Yeah, I'll keep.
It does.
No,
but it's not. It's way more cynical and tongue in cheek on a lot of stuff.
I do think the heartwarming strand, it doesn't thread its way throughout. It really like it's underneath the whole time, and then it pops up at the end. Like, you keep thinking, oh, this is the moment where they're gonna pivot, especially with Schwarzenegger and Sinbad. You're like, they're gonna pivot to it.
Where they're gonna be friends.
No.
Yeah.
And then
pivot to it. No.
Yeah.
No. Okay. What is this? They're just terrible people. Okay.
Yeah.
But I do love the number of hijinks that Arnold gets into, because that's really like the thrust of the movie is like he bounces from like scene or like basically like setup to setup of like, okay, what's his new strategy to get one? What happens here? Then the radio station happens, and then like everything like it just keeps bouncing around.
You're flirting with it. You're flirting with it.
I actually think that they did a really good job at utilizing some of the tropes of what you think Arnold should be.
Right. Yeah.
And like kind of either turning them on their head a little bit every once in a while, or also leaning into it to where he's kind of like this macho guy.
Yeah.
And they do have some fun jokes in there.
Can't bench press your way out of this one.
Yeah,
Right,
like small little bits like that where it's like clearly like they know that they're making a movie with Arnold in it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that when we get past spoilers. I have a comment about that just because every time to watch it, like, really?
Yeah.
Anyways,
But I think too, like something that like sticks out to me watching it now is that like of all the Arnold comedies, like Twins and Kindergarten Cop, I think this is one of my least favorite of his, just because I think his other movies where he's playing a comedic role are funnier.
Well, I don't think you can really beat Kindergarten Cop. I think that's probably his peak.
Oh, absolutely.
I think
for comedy.
Part of it too is maybe as much as we talked about Phil, right?
Yeah.
Because he's kind of the antagonist.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. So the cast that Arnold's working with around him doesn't really work with him. It works against him.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Whereas like Twins, I mean, you got Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, just going back and forth the whole time.
And it's really
amazing.
fun.
Yeah. So like, I think that's maybe where it lacks a little bit. Is he doesn't have a companion or a sidekick.
Yeah, because
really.
I do think that Sinbad is a little bit too much in this film.
He's just Sinbad.
He is
emphatically Sinbad.
He is. He's emphatically Sinbad, and that like I think.
I don't hate it though.
I don't hate it, but I feel like
he has moments.
Like unhinged postal worker.
But a lot of his like jokes, just to me at least, kind of fall flat because they're just like they're delivered like Sinbad would deliver them. It's fine. But I look back and I'm like, man, what if Chris Tucker was this role? Or what if?
No. See, okay, now hold on. I'm gonna put a caveat here.
Okay.
Can you imagine? I don't actually know how tall Chris Tucker is. Can you imagine Chris Tucker bowing up to Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes.
You gotta find.
Yes, that would be funny. Like that's what I'm saying.
No, if it was like Kevin Hart,
Oh God!
They do that anyways. It's Kevin Hart
like
and The Rock. I mean, they do that already.
He was probably like 16 when the
I
movie
know.
came out. But like thinking of like mid 90s, like Martin Lawrence or like I don't know.
I mean, at the time, Sinbad was a big name, but I do feel like from looking back now from this lens, there are probably bigger names that were out there. It could have been Eddie Murphy.
Well, I think Sinbad was known for
an $80 million budget if Eddie Murphy had been opposite him.
Sinbad, if you don't know, his comedy was clean, like his stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
So I think that was
a reason why.
Yeah, I'm sure they were like, okay, we're making this kids movie. Let's get someone who's like, not like
a kid friend, not like Robin Williams,
Eddie Murphy. Yeah.
Well, now I will say, in Robin Williams' defense, right? He cleans up. Eddie Murphy cleans up too.
Sure.
He does, yeah.
Right, like,
they both did.
They don't really get away. I mean, same thing as what's his name? Full House.
Bob Saget.
Bob Saget, thank you.
Yeah, Bob Saget has a very raunchy.
Oh yeah, if you're like, I love this dude. Oh, he's a comedian. I should check his stuff out. You'd be horrified.
Yes,
right. Yeah, but I think for me, it's the biggest appeal of the movie is just watching each setup and each payoff of like how he out of the frying pan into the fryer type situation.
I feel like there could have been, if there was like a little more work in the script here, like maybe we could have hit on some kind of allegory, a little more like a whether it's the 12 Gifts of Christmas or something like that, where you could have had him doing these different things that relate to something like that. That's more of a traditional Christmas thing.
Yeah.
So in the background, you have a thread, and it also gives it a theme, and it might have held it together better rather than it's just like, where are we going now? I don't know. He's somewhere in Minneapolis. I don't know anything about the city really, other than it's cold.
That's all you need to know, really.
Because what was it? Ted's like, I'm going to take him out to like Lake Minnetonka.
Lake Minnetonka's there.
And I was like, okay, so this is like Minnesota or Wisconsin or Michigan.
Twin Cities, yeah.
Yeah, but then I looked up, it's set in the Twin Cities. Oh, okay.
Well, and I think too, like I don't know, like when the time this come out, like it feels like there does need to be a deeper message. Like the story is basically you need to spend time with your family. And it's like apparent from the beginning of the movie to the end, like just spend time with your kid. Just spend time with your kid. So it doesn't take you on any kind of a journey where you rethink anything. It's just you're watching this dude realize, I gotta spend time with my family.
Yeah.
So.
Well, being a little bit of a dunce most of the time. But
right. Yeah.
A little bit.
If you're on the hunt for the holidays' hottest podcast episodes, have I got the place that's got full stock? Okay.
See, this one was actually good enough to where I can't really be mad at it.
Thank you.
No. And it never runs out.
Head to spoilersintendedpodcast.com. You can see listen, whatever, all of our old episodes.
Watch the waveform.
Yeah, you can watch the waveform kick up and down as we make our good jokes.
Up 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so we have a Discord that you can come and join us on. We love to talk about, obviously what we're watching, what we're reviewing, that kind of stuff. But we also have a really cool channel that you can just come and post all of your Christmas food in, and we can all salivate over it, whatever, I don't know, or make fun of you.
Be horrified by what you eat for Christmas.
Hey, we will absolutely not make fun of you. Post whatever you want to do. Okay, we might.
And if you need something to do to bide your time while you hide from all those extra family in town for Christmas, you can check us out on social media. We got count two, Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
Hit us up on there, leave us like, comments, share, etc.
All right.
Rock out to that all the time.
We're back. I know. Brian Setzer,
just leave it
going. Just leave it going. Okay, so let's jump into some trivia real quick.
Trivia.
So producer Chris Columbus wanted Joe Pesci to play Myron, but he was deemed too short at 5'3". So kind of to your point about like picking the right person to go up against.
It probably would have been harder to shoot.
Oh, I'm sure because Arnold.
They got like Joe Pesci up on like
3.
So next to Arnold, who was 6'2". However, the argument for Pesci was made when people said he had made 2 previous films alongside Danny DeVito, who's even shorter. So they were kind of like, that's not an excuse.
Yeah, but you just get some apple boxes and put them on there.
I think at least with twins, that's like kind of the conceit, though.
It's the point.
Yeah, it's the point. Yeah.
So Sinbad at 6'4", though.
Yeah, Sinbad's
actually someone I can believe who would just be like, I'm gonna get in your face.
Yeah, right. I'll square up
because there are definite moments when people got like into Arnold's face. It's like I feel like in real life everybody would just be like, nah.
Sinbad improvised the majority of his lines.
Oh, yeah, I can definitely tell. Yeah.
And so Arnold Schwarzenegger also improvised many of his responses in his conversations with him.
Oh, really?
Man.
So a large amount of the movie is just improvised.
Arnold just going to town as a non-native speaker.
Come on.
Just hung out to dry with Sinbad just going on.
So like I said, the story is based on the 80s shopping frenzy over the Cabbage Patch dolls that also ironically mirrored the Tickle Me Elmo craze of Christmas 96.
I mean, it happened. There was always like the big toy of Christmas where it was like, hey, like you're in line. It's like December 15th to go sit on Santa's lap and your parents are trying to listen in.
Right.
And you're like, I want blah, blah, blah. And your parents are like, oh my God, why could you tell me this a month ago?
So there was like Tamagotchis, Furbies, Ty Beanie Babies,
Rubik's
Tickle Me
Cubes,
Elmo,
go
Rubik's Cubes.
Pet Rocks, you want to keep going backwards.
I mean, obviously like Nintendo, that kind of stuff.
Well, any big game console, right? My wife and I were actually talking about this this morning about like, she's like, it's like every Zelda game released in November. Oh, right, because Christmas.
Yeah. But I feel like Tickle Me Elmo was the first time that people were getting trampled in stores for stuff. Fights were breaking out. Like I feel like before that, it was like a rush.
I was 10 years old and I still remember this.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, this was like the nightly news, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
They tell you like the local news, be like the Walmart on 150.
4 people died.
Has Elmo's in stock, but if you were sitting here listening to it, you're already too late.
Too late. Yeah. So this is crazy. In March 2001, a U.S. District Court jury in Birmingham, Michigan, ruled that 20th Century Fox stole the script idea from a Detroit high school biology teacher named Brian Webster. So the studio was ordered to pay $19 million, which was later reduced to $1.5 million.
Still.
Webster submitted the script called Could This Be Christmas to the studio in '94 and never received any payment or credit despite the film making $129 million worldwide.
Wow.
The studio appealed, claiming Webster's script was submitted after they had purchased a treatment of what would become this movie script, and then the verdict was reversed.
Oh, wow.
So, like, in 2001, there's just all this courtroom drama about a movie from 96 where, like, this biology teacher is like, that's my idea.
That's crazy.
Yeah, wild stuff. The toy that Myron references in the diner that he didn't get as a child was, in fact, a real toy. It's in real life called the Johnny 7 OMA gun. I mean, OMA for One Man Army is what that stood for.
Yeah.
The Johnny 7 OMA gun was produced by Deluxe Reading under the Topper Toys toy line and released in 1964, where it became the best-selling boys' toy of the year. Oh, the toy was marketed heavily on television, and the commercial went exactly as Myron describes it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So Sinbad actually was probably like just talking about his own childhood trauma.
When you hear that he improv most of his lines, it's like, this probably wasn't the play that he wanted.
As a kid.
Yeah. Did you guys watch the after credits scene?
Yes.
Did you?
Maybe?
Where basically his wife walks up to him and she's like, you did all this stuff for our son because you love him so much. What would you do for me?
Or what'd you get me for Christmas?
What'd you get me for Christmas? And then he forgets.
So
and then, a freeze frame on his face.
The extra credits.
That. Yeah.
So the extra scene at the end of the credits was written to set the stage for a possible sequel.
So that never happened. So Arnold got her Larry the Cable Guy for Christmas? That's brutal.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I divorced him too.
Downgrade.
Woof.
So some home media covers, like the VHS and stuff, feature Howard dressed in a Santa suit, and he never in the entire movie appears in a Santa suit.
Yeah.
And I remember, like on the thumbnail on Disney Plus, it's got him in the Santa Claus hat going like, wah, you know.
Yeah.
Last bit of trivia here. Robin Williams, Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, and Steve Martin were all considered for Howard. Tim Allen was considered for the role of Myron before they finally landed on Schwarzenegger and Sinbad.
Imagine if this is like Chevy Chase and Tim Allen going after each other? This would have been terrible.
Weird, yeah.
Well, wasn't Tim Allen in the Santa Claus like a couple years later?
Oh, it's like right on top of this.
Like,
yeah.
I think the Santa Claus is
maybe before.
It might be the same year.
It was close.
Yeah,
it was
really
either
close.
slightly before or slightly after.
There was I remember just a bunch of Christmas movies with all these big names all kind of came out around the same time.
Yeah. I don't know what the first one was.
Oh, Santa Claus is 94. It predates this.
Okay. Yeah.
That's crazy because not to get into my review here, but I feel like the effects in that are a little better than what we get in this.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is if they really had a short, kind of production time for this, which they more than likely did because it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those where I think that we could have done without like you had like one or two little fun bits with him in the jetpack
flying
around, and then after that it's like, come on guys,
they're like, we put aside $20 million for this moment. We need to make use of it.
Because everything else around, like before that part of it, I'm like, this is still like well within general reality, and then after that I'm just like,
yeah, it definitely takes a turn. So, okay, let's get into our thoughts in the movie. Yeah, so like talk about that. So you're saying everything up until that point, even the bomb exploding.
It is hands.
Like there's a whole thing here where like it could be like there's so many different types of bombs.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna get
Andrew, confirmed bomb expert.
But no, I mean like, okay, yeah, like that's kind of more of like just an off joke.
Yeah.
Compared to, this where it's like he's just flying around with a jetpack. Yeah. Like it's already crazy that they have this, civilian jetpack just exist.
That
right?
It's technology that we still don't have today.
It still doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But like up until that point, everything is pretty believable.
Fairly grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let's go back to the bomb, all right?
Okay.
I always forget just how wild 80s and 90s movies are.
Oh,
where it's just like randomly, hey, like this is just death or borderline death.
Yeah.
Where they're like exiting the building and they're just and like again, my wife's sitting there, she's like, hold on, what?
Yeah.
No, I do that in a Christmas movie.
I had forgotten about that scene, and then like when they were running away and it actually makes the noise, I go, did they just kill like 20 police officers in this movie?
On Christmas Eve?
And then they cut back to him and he's like, the soot in his hair. I was like, oh, okay.
Wile E. Coyote move.
I was like, this just got dark fast.
Yeah. Like Sinbad's a mass murderer.
Yeah.
A mass police murderer too.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where like any like Home Alone, whatever, like all these people just die.
Well, I mean, sure, like everything that happens in Home Alone kills Marv and
Harry.
Yeah.
Over and
over and over again.
Kills them over and over again.
And if they somehow
the first
survive
paint can, dead.
Yeah.
The iron,
Right.
but at least those are comical, and like you actually see it, and they're like, this is just like it pans up to a building, to boom.
You hear the explosion, and I'm going like, oh my god.
But yeah, there's definitely like some jokes that just don't age very well at all.
Well, I wondered about that too, because again, a lot of Sinbad, right? A lot of Myron.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the jokes that he has, it's like, was this funnier in the 90s? When it's just like, any one of them could be a bomb. You don't know how many of these are floating around there. I'm like, I mean, yeah, the Unabomber was kicking around about that time.
Right,
but
yeah.
like, that's not that funny.
Well, so
one of the 1-star reviews I found, this person, the whole review was like 1 star, and it was like, if you think joking about bombs in the mail is funny, you need to get examined in your head. And that was like the whole review. And I was like, okay.
I mean,
does this person have like an aunt that died from a bomb in the mail? Or like, what happened?
At least
lose
like,
a hand?
I'll say unhinged postal workers was definitely in around this time because they also had Newman from Seinfeld. Who fits that bill.
So going postal was coined in the 80s. Apparently. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, like when that joke was made, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's like,
going
okay,
like, crazy here.
Yeah. So, like that's kind of like there are definitely some jokes in here that don't land, but there are some fantastic ones, particularly with Phil Hartman.
Oh, yeah.
Of just like the setup and payoff, like at the end, where like clearly like his wife is not interested at all, and she knows exactly what he's doing.
100%, but he's still going for it.
Oh yeah.
I just love the phone call when he's doing the cookies and she's in the shower. And
Yeah.
he's like, I could go get her out of the shower if you'd like. No.
Ted, no.
Put the cookie down.
Yeah, I mean there are some good, funny bits in this.
Yes.
It's just again, it's one of those things where it's, I don't know if this is me, just it's 30 years from now, and I'm like, whoa, that's a risque move right there, boys. What was going on in the writing room?
I didn't think anything was that bad. It was just like it definitely wouldn't fly today.
Oh, we also went for like the underground crime ring of Santas.
Oh, I love that.
Just amazing.
And then the Big Show from WCW, the wrestler, comes out at the end, and I was like, I forgot he was in this. Yeah,
with oh gosh, what's his name? He played
Mickey on Seinfeld.
No. He plays Flitwick or whatever, Professor Flitwick in Harry Potter.
Oh yeah.
Warwick Davis.
Yeah.
As the little Santa. Right?
No, I don't think that was him.
That's not Warwick Davis.
That was the guy that played Mickey on Seinfeld. Remember Kramer's buddy?
No, I'm not talking about the elf.
Oh, you're talking about
the little Santa that jumps on
the one that
head
gets punched and flies.
I'm pretty sure that's Warwick Davis.
I don't think it is. Warwick Davis, I think it's bigger than that. Check that.
I'm going to have to look this up now.
Yeah.
Whoever, like the guy who plays Mickey from Seinfeld, but the elf, like he's fantastic.
He's great.
Hilarious.
And then Jim Belushi, as the crooked Santa or whatever, which Jim Belushi and Arnold Schwarzenegger were in Red Heat together, which is a movie where Arnold plays like a communist dude and Belushi's like a cop.
Yeah.
And they have to team up to like take down, I don't know,
something.
Insert random bad guy here. But yeah, I was like, I think it's the only time Jim Belushi and Schwarzenegger have worked together since that movie, which is like wild, but it's like, whatever.
But I love that whole little bit of like the crooked Santa ring.
Yeah.
Just like hawking, Chinese made.
Like Spanish versions.
Yeah.
And then the raid happens and he uses the
fake badge.
The fake badge.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by like, it's the hijinks that he gets out of. And then like his vehicle breaks down on gas and he pushes it to the diner and then they're in the diner and you have that moment where it's like they talk and then the radio station happens.
They're finding something here and then, clearly they don't. Like they're meant to be bad guys at the end.
Well, and like the in the mall when they have the drawing with the balls or whatever with the numbers on them, and then Sinbad has one of Myron, he's running away.
Yeah.
And he's like, he got 2. And then everybody just attacks him. And it's like, wow.
Well, so I think one of my favorite.
Okay, he's not credited, so I could just be very wrong here. It sure looked familiar, though.
One of my favorite bits in this whole film, though, is right at the end whenever the guy who's like in the booster costume gets knocked down. It's like, no one likes you anyways. And then all the kids just start attacking him. It just beat him up. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you think back of like watching like these kind of like Power Rangers shows, you're just like, man, I hate that guy.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason for it. Like he's just I don't like the sidekick. And it just augments that and it's just hilarious.
It's the ultimate payoff to that joke that's been running throughout of like no one likes Booster. No one wants Booster. There's some boosters available. And then it's like they get to the end and the kid's like, boo, and they're like kicking him and you're like, man. I think too the not a weakness of the movie, but like another thing that I had forgotten about was the Arnold Schwarzenegger plays the trope of just the busy businessman who don't have time for his family.
So I was trying to figure out, is he a salesman? Does he own the company?
Who knows?
Is he a VP?
Unclear. Yeah, unclear.
Because like he's on the phone like making sales.
He is.
Then he's also like signing important documents.
And he's in the biggest office.
So
with like a secretary or personal assistant. Yeah.
Right.
So like, what is he?
What
is he doing?
Big man in charge. He's making sales. He's making money. That's what he's doing.
I guess so. And what company? It's like
a fabric company.
It was mattresses. No, it was mattresses.
Oh, mattresses.
See, like you can't.
No.
I don't know what is it. Textiles? I don't know.
But do mattresses come in different colors? Because he was like, well, the red's wrong, so we have to get you the right fabric. And
I could swear it was mattresses.
I don't know. That should tell you right there, like how important it is and what he does. He's just businessman.
Yep,
that's it. And then
mattress salesman.
Mattress salesman.
Whatever.
Let me get that red mattress.
Get that red mattress.
I thought
going to that motel right by the interstate.
Oh no.
God. I thought Rita Wilson did a good job as the wife too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She just, I don't know. She had a good energy where it's like you understand her side of it. You know what I mean? Like every time.
Oh, yes.
And like they did that really cool like push in, where it's like, well, you got the doll, right?
I always can forget his name, the kid.
Jake Lloyd?
Jake Lloyd. There it is.
Yeah, Jake
I know
Lloyd.
it's Lloyd. I can't remember.
Poor guy.
Yeah. He's exactly what you would expect out of a kid.
So what's crazy to me,
actor. I mean,
I had forgotten that he was the kid in this movie until
like,
he
"It's
popped up
Anakin."
and I went, oh no. That's what I call pod racing. I feel like his performance in this is way more suited to this movie than like the Phantom
absolutely.
Menace.
Oh, well, yeah.
But it's the same
better
acting
directing.
almost. Yeah.
He probably had better
He
directing.
probably did have better
Let's be
directing
honest
in
here.
this.
But yeah, like I like him at the end, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And especially whenever he, Sinbad's getting hauled away.
Oh
and
yeah.
he gives him the toy.
And he gives him the toy.
That was touching. We like that.
Yeah.
I like those kind of moments and stuff because he finally realizes like, well, I have Turbo Man. I don't need the action figure.
Yeah, I got the real one at home.
Wonder if he got to keep that suit.
Absolutely not.
Oh, that was a prototype. That dude with the clipboard came in there and started stripping him right in front of everybody else.
One of my favorite jokes that again I didn't remember was when he's getting suited up and the guy's like, what happens to tragic accident. But in good news, he's showing signs of brain activity.
And they say that's a really good thing.
Yeah. So good luck. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, when he started riffing through all that, I was like, okay, so they're totally launching him into the air.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's showing signs of brain activity. And they say that's a good thing.
But the thing is, too, is that, like, I like, because, like, you do have, like, obviously, like, kind of like the slapstick stuff for kids, but then you do have a little bit more adult humor.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Kind of peppered in, yeah.
And I think, so one of the things I feel like maybe it lacked a little bit was kind of the quintessential, like, Christmas finish, right? Because I mean, even Die Hard does it, right? Everything is happy and good, and then it starts snowing.
Yeah,
like you didn't get that, and like the do do do, like the like typical Christmas music breaks in, or you didn't quite get that as the camera pulls away.
Yeah,
so that felt like maybe it lacked a little bit because I mean that's basically what '90s Christmas, like all Christmas movies are, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
that's how they work, right?
Well, I feel like they should have taken the after credits scene and put it at the end of the movie instead of after the credits, and had it been a little more fleshed out.
It was just before its time.
It was, but like, if you take that moment with him putting the star on the tree, and like you have the Christmas music, and then like you think they basically pull the rug out from underneath it. It starts to do the pan out the window, and then maybe you just hear her audio of like, "What are you going to get me?" And then it cuts back to him going, "Whoa," you know.
It does like the whole like the camera pulls out through the window and is like like flying away, and you just hear, "So what are you going to get me?" It just zips right back in.
Yeah. That would have been good.
So the other thing that I always forget that this movie takes place in Twin Cities. Because, but you can always tell it is, like, even if they don't mention it. So, like, you
got Mall of America.
The Mall of America with the Skyway,
Mall of America,
which is one of the big, like, things in the 90s that they were really proud of, and then no one ever used it.
Andrew had to race through Mall of America to find a Verizon store.
I did.
Before they closed.
Yeah, that was an experience.
Yeah.
I ate at the Jimmy Buffett's in the Mall of America one time because our flight got canceled. I got the jerk chicken. It was pretty good.
But yeah, so the
a couple margaritas, they were fine too.
The Skyway is definitely one of those like big landmark things, like when especially in the 90s. So like the first Mighty Ducks film. Has them roller skating.
Run through it,
And then you have this one, and I think there was like one other like kind of like holiday or kids movie that had them in the Skyway, like because it had just been built, so they're like super proud of it.
Minneapolis was like America's city right then.
Yeah,
everybody had to film
especially with Mall of
movie.
America, because that's when malls were still kind of cool.
Oh well, I mean, we're again watching it. My wife's just like, "Oh man, it's so sad. Look at all these people in the mall, like out having fun and interacting."
Well, I mean,
not on their cell phones, not talking to each other,
just in the life.
Meanwhile, they're just looking at Arnold in the ball pit, like pervert.
Beating him
this
up
was
with,
the
beating
90s.
up with
A bunch of women beating it with a huge person.
Gosh, what a scene. I do think, to your point earlier, that like the Turbo Man stuff at the end with the jetpack goes on a bit much. That could have been literally one scene. It could have been like he climbs up the tree and it falls. He uses the jetpack to catch him and lands.
Yep,
done.
That's it.
Instead, they've got him zipping around like skyscrapers.
It really takes me out because I'm just like, he's gonna get on the jetpack, does some silly stuff because he's not used to it, and then he writes himself up and he saves the day. But then they go on for like at least 2 minutes, and you're just like, come on.
Yeah, and I guess it's probably like it's the climax of the movie. They wanted to like amp it up, but it definitely, for sure, like stretches the limits of the realism.
Kevin Feige was over there like taking notes.
Well, now I will say they do have some good bit jokes in there where he like flies through the dining room.
Oh
the family eating, those kind of stuff.
The helmet is super reinforced. They really fixed it up after the other guy had brain damage.
He hits that wall and just
stays vertical, perpendicular.
So there's some good gags in there, but again, I feel like you could do all that without the soaring. Yeah, you could have him launch, fly through the families, like Christmas, land against the wall, and then save the kid, and you're done. Well,
also watching it too, I was like, the Rocketeer did this a little better, guys.
He did.
And a couple years before
and
your
it's
time.
also Disney. Well, no, this is 20th Century Fox.
I think this is Fox.
It is technically Disney now.
It is now.
That's where Disney owns everything.
All right, well, let's go around and answer the question. Would you recommend it, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely recommend it if you're looking for just a fun holiday film that you haven't seen before, and you also don't mind it just being absolutely absurd.
Right.
And again, it's also a very cynical look at American consumerism during the holidays.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, if you're not interested in watching just a mob of people just act like a mob of people that you see on the TV.
On like Black Friday or whatever.
Just, you know,
it's almost too real now.
It is. But, you know, I still enjoy the movie. I definitely rewatch it.
Yeah.
So.
What about you, Steven? Would you recommend it? Would you rewatch it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's a different change up from, you know, other what I would consider 90s Christmas classics like Santa Claus and Home Alone. It's a bit of a different change of pace, a little bit more just goes full comedy. Yeah. And I think to Andrew's point earlier, it's definitely a movie you can just kind of toss on and let it run.
And there are some very good moments, some solid comedy in there. Arnold does a good job.
Oh, yeah.
But like if you've got friends over or whatever for a party, just throw it on the background. It's just there.
It's good to riff on, too.
This would be a perfect movie to me to put on when you're wrapping presents or something because you don't have to watch the screen. You can look up when there's a reindeer bit, you know, happening or like Phil Hartman's doing something.
When Arnold's over there giving the reindeer a beer. Oh, man, the 90s, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
So Cracking a cold one with the boys.
Yeah.
I would say if you've never seen it, I would recommend it for sure. If you have seen it, you know what it is.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you're going to get into.
Just put it on whatever. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about our Patreon.
Yeah,
let's do it. The Patreon.
For just go ahead.
No, you do it.
Oh, okay, no, you first.
By all means.
For just $1 a month.
Yes.
I was going to say low dollar, but it's just $1.
It's just $1. $1 is $1.
$1 a month, you get access to all our bonus content, bonus episodes, guaranteed once a month, sometimes more, you never know. We also have audio commentaries that you can watch along with us while we kind of riff on the movie.
Yep.
We also have
Patreon picks polls. Yeah, where you can pick the movies that we review. Patreons get early access to that, but then, you know, everyone gets it in the main feed eventually. But yeah, if you want to change the course of this podcast, then you can get in there and vote.
Weigh in.
Yeah. All right, well, that sounds like about all the time we've got. So as always, follow us on social, leave us a review wherever you're listening right now, and share us with a friend. Until next time, I'm Ryan.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Steven.
And every spoiler was intended.